Hi everybody, this is going to be a quick video to show you how to get into MindTap and to do the reading and the various assignments, the training, and then the chapter testing that you're going to be doing every week and for every chapter. So by now I hope that you already have purchased your access code. And just real quick, I'll take you there. If you go to the Access MindTap menu item over here, there's links here about that. And the first link is to take you to the Cengage site where you can purchase the access code. Now, there's been a lot of confusion about this and a lot of questions coming in. So by now I hope you already have all these answered and you already have this all squared away. But just in case, let me re-explain what the options are here. Now, first of all, let me just get this out of the way. You're free to read whatever format of the third edition of this Freeberg text that you wish. If you have a hard copy, if you want to use a print copy, if you want to use an all electronic eBook version, that's totally up to you. But everybody needs to have access to MindTap, and so you need an access code that Cengage sells. Now, if you were to go search around on Cengage site all by yourself, you would find a link somewhere for purchasing a MindTap access code for a semester for $95. And but I want to encourage you to use this link that they've provided us here. They're giving you guys a little bit of a good deal here. It's my understanding that $95 is the best price you're going to find. Other students have been telling me that they've found it on Amazon, but it's actually more. So Cengage has the $95 seems to be the best deal, and the deal they're giving you seems to be the very best deal. So let me click on that. That opens up their order page for our course for the textbook options. Now, think of it this way, you're buying access to MindTap. MindTap is a separate website, a controlled website by another third company that Cengage contracts with. Cengage doesn't make or create MindTap, but they essentially, I guess, own it. And it's a secured website, and the only way you can get to it is through these links and using this access code. So it's not like a Netflix account or something like that. I hear, you hear about people, sharing their account with other users for whether that's legal or not. It isn't going to work this way. Every student needs to have their very own access to MindTap because it's going to keep track of your grades and then shuttle them over to the Blackboard for the course grades. And you just can't share an account. So I'm sorry, that is not going to be an option. You need to bite the bullet and get your own access code. Okay, so this is the best place that I know of to purchase this access code. Now, the deal that I keep referring to is they'll supply you with essentially a free eBook version of the text for 6 months. So they do have two options here. So both of these options include the access code, a free ebook, and in this lower case, for an additional price here, that's about $33 more, they'll bundle this with a loose leaf printed version, shrink wrap version of the text printed out. You could put this in your own 3-ring binder. So that is a way to get a printed, hands-on copy of the text if you prefer that format. Okay, so again, it's think of it as $95 for the access code. So up here you're getting the access code to MindTap plus the free ebook for 6 months. All right, and down here you're getting both of those plus a printed version for $33 more. Okay, so click the version that you want if you haven't already, add it to your cart and do your purchasing there. Now, I wish I could find this and show this to you and verify this to you, but the Cengage reps keep telling me, and I swear I saw this somewhere, maybe when you go to purchase it, some students, tell me that they don't yet have their financial aid or their finances ready to make this big purchase. And so Cengage does have an option somewhere buried. If it's not obvious, if you can't, I hope it's not buried, but I can't seem to find it right now. They'll let you, they'll give you a free, I think, 2-week trial to MindTap with the eBook. And so if you need a couple of weeks, that's a great way to cover that for the first couple of weeks. And they tell me that if the 2 weeks, if you go on to purchase it within those 2 weeks, then it'll just convert over once you make the purchase. And they also promised me that you won't lose your work. So even if there's a gap, even if you do need, even if you for some reason go longer before actually buying it, and I don't recommend that. I really hope get your access to MindTap. Everything needs to be done in there. There's just no other substitute. I'm sorry, but anyway, you won't lose your work. I'm promised. So with that free trial thing, so it will be, even if it lapses for unforeseen reasons. Because you haven't purchased it yet. When you do get around to purchasing it, they'll still have your work there. So don't worry about losing, the first 2 weeks of work that you do in that free trial if you go that route. So keep an eye out on the screen for that. Again, I don't know quite sure where that is. So yeah, if you can't find it, contact Cengage and get the word directly from them. Okay, so get your access code. Now let me go back to the course page. And there's a video here to link. You can watch a video about how to do that access code and a little quick introduction to all of that. So watch that if you haven't already. Here's some frequently asked questions, so take a look at all that. And yeah, so anyway, then each time, after you register, after you buy the access code, the next time you go to this, the first time you go to this MindTap Access, if I just pretend I clicked on that, and it would open up a page. Well, after you're registered your code, it'll go directly to the page from then on. But the first time you click on going to MindTap, it'll walk you through the screen that opens up will walk you through how to enter your information, your name and everything, and that access code that you've purchased. So I trust that when you make that purchase on that page I showed you, Cengage will supply you immediately with that code. I suppose maybe they send it to you by email, or it's just on the screen when you make the purchase. One way or another, you have the numbers, the code, and you type that in. You'll have to just enter that stuff in one time. And from then on, it'll click, when you click these links that are embedded inside my course page, it'll take you to, the Freebird Discovering Behavioral Science MindTap site. And I'm an instructor, so I don't know for sure if my screen, I know my screen doesn't look exactly like your screen. For example, I have subsequent later chapters hidden, so you can't see that. All you can see right now are the first 2 chapters. Now, before I show you that, some people have asked me about, well, how do I get the access to the eBook? And they're complaining. They were pointing out that it only seemed like they only had the first or second chapters, free, and they couldn't see the rest of the book. You have the whole book over here. This right menu here, I think they call this the app tray or something like that. And there's different applications here. This one right here is the full book. So when you click on that, this window has access to the full book. You can go and you can look at any and all chapters, and go to any chapter, and then use the arrow keys to and you can scroll up and down to read. And whoops, I clicked out of the book. So click these arrows to proceed through the pages. You can change the font sizes. You even have this clunky option to have it read out loud to you. You can apparently print portions of the book if you'd rather, if you'd rather send it to your printer and read them offline. You have that ability to do that. Other apps, you can go and explore those on your own. So when you're done reading the book, you can shove that out of the way by clicking this little arrow button here. Okay, now before, I should have showed you this very first thing. Once you're in here, the first thing you should have done, if you haven't already, is click on this Getting Started video, and please watch that. So this introduces you to MindTap and explains a lot of how this works and what you're going to be doing here. So I won't play that. I want you to go watch that video, and you can close these windows by clicking these Close Activities. Okay, so watch that Getting Started video before you then jump in and proceed, all right? Now, then once you're ready to do the work for a chapter, they're gonna, it's gonna be divvied up in here. So go to chapter 1, click on that, and it will expand, and you can see everything that I have exposed for you to do. Now there's something, if you think I have a lot for you to do, you can rest assured I'm not making you do everything that's available in here. So look, I have some things that are grayed out that I'm essentially hiding from you. So in other words, you're not required to do some things in some chapters. Okay, and you just kind of work your way down this list of items to do, culminating with each week, each chapter test. So this class, instead of having like 4 exams like I typically would do on multiple chapters, we'll take this end of the chapter, we'll use these as our exam. So you'll just take one more, a gentler exam, albeit it'll be every week. All right, so the pro is you don't have great big exams to study for with about 4 chapters, maybe 5 chapters at a time. Instead, you'll have more regular, weekly. You can call them weekly quizzes if you'd rather call them, instead of tests or exams. Okay, so anyway, those are going to serve as exams. And then the other above items are, let's call that homework or assignments. And so to earn all the points that are available, you'll need to click and do the assignments. Now, I'm bundling all of this together for a chapter. We're doing a chapter a week, and everything in here for a chapter will be due by the end of Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. on Sundays. Now, let me just say this loud and clear. You cannot do this stuff on Sunday evening. You will not be able to, you literally will not be able to complete all of this on a Sunday, all right? Maybe, probably not even if you start early in the day on Sunday. Do not save your weekly work for one sitting. It is impossible to do, okay? And I'll show you in just a moment why that's impossible. So this is kind of tough love. MindTap is utilizing is trying to utilize some of the best things that we know about cognitive psychology and learning, and that is distributed practice. We all know from long experience, whether we practice it or not in real life with classes and in schoolwork, we know from taking piano lessons, or if you were on any kind of sports team, or you were performing in a play, any time you had to perform like that, you had practice, and you didn't just have one practice for the whole season or for one performance, one time before showtime. It's a sort of a sometimes laborious daily process where you sit down and you do hopefully a bit at a time, and that's what MindTap is going to have you do for certain parts of this. All right, where that really gets implemented is in what are called what's called mastery training. So let me show you that real quickly. So you click on mastery training, and it'll spin and open up here. And I'm already into this, so maybe I wish I could show you from this. Let me see if I could. I can't remember if I did any from chapter 2. So I'm going to go back out. Here's how you get back to the main list of chapters. Use the left arrow, go back. Let me duck into chapter 2, and hopefully I didn't start any mastery training there. So I'll show you what it's like from the beginning. So click on mastery training, and all right, so this is how it will look when you first start a chapter. Okay, so while this is up here, let me show you this. If you have an iPhone or an Android, you can go get a mobile version of this. So you can sit down and do this. When you're riding the bus or sitting waiting for a class or eating lunch, you can pop open your tablet or phone and bust out some of this studying. Okay, some of this mastery training and any of this stuff, I think. All right, so I encourage that. go for it. Start utilizing the 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, half an hour. Start popping those sometimes wasted moments of a day into your routine. Okay. So anyway, this module has what do they call 37 memories, 37 items they're gonna have you do. Okay, so you click to see the first 10. So the first thing it's going to do is teach you 10 things. You have an assigned goal for this set. Now let me tell you what your goal is. This is flexible, and I have the ability to change some of this and make this, I have different options. So I'm using a pretty easy, pretty gentle, if you think this is time consuming, I'm using one of the least time consuming setups that we have here. So this is a little bit weird, so let me explain what your goal is here to get to this level of mastery. Okay, so it's going to show you a bunch of items, and it's going to first teach them to you, and then it's going to start to gently quiz you on them. And you can kind of think of this in a way, it's sort of like glorified flashcards, as you'll see in a moment. And so, how you complete this you have to satisfy 2 goals. You have to reach what this thing calls the 0.5 level of mastery. The levels of mastery go from 0 to I can't remember, 3 or 5. I can't remember which number, some higher number like that. I'm having you go to 0.5 only. All right. Using 0.0 wouldn't be really like testing you. It would just be like going through flashcards. Okay. Over and over again. So you have to reach level 0.5, as you'll see in just a moment, all right? And then you also have to eventually answer all of the questions, all the items for, what did it say, 31 or 37 items to remember in this chapter? You eventually have to be able to answer them all correctly, okay? That doesn't mean you have to answer them all correctly in a row, but through this training you have to get them all right, I think at least once, somewhere. And as you're going to see, it's going to distribute the practice. It's going to make you do a bit over and over again, a little bit of routine to help you master this material. Okay, it doesn't just ask you one time and then move on. Now, it's also using artificial intelligence, and so if you get things right, it's going to go quicker for you. You're going to be able to reach 0.5 and get everything right quicker if you're obviously answering questions correctly. If you get something wrong, it's going to note that, and you're going to notice that it'll come back and ask you that question more often. And if the more you got something wrong, the more often you're going to see it asked. Okay, so let me show you this real quickly, and just so you can get a sense or a flavor for how this is going to go. Okay, so you're going to learn and practice these concepts on your way to getting level 5 mastery. This is going to take sessions, by the way. So again, this isn't something that you can sit and bust out once. As you're going to see, it's when you reach a certain, it's going to take you through a few items at a time, and then it's going to say, okay, go away, go do something else, and there's going to be a little time listed over here, how many, it's like where it won't let you proceed for 5 hours or something. So yeah, you can't just bust this out all at once. You have to close it up, go do something else, and then you can come back, later after that amount of time has elapsed. So you can't do this all in one sitting on Sundays. So don't even think about it. Okay, so it's a little bit more information. There's going to be 5 screens telling you more details. You read those as you go through here, okay? So I'm just going to jump in and show you. Okay, so let's start this set. You read those instructions though. Okay, so, and I'm not going to do, we're in the interest of time, I'm going to fly through this, okay? So you would study this and read this and try to, do your best, learn it, okay? When you're ready, you say, got it. Okay, and then here's another thing. So here's a statement about the long cylinder of nervous tissue extending from the medulla to the first lumbar vertebrae. Okay, in which of these items that is? That's the spinal cord. It's highlighting and showing you that that sentence pertains to the spinal cord. Okay, got it. Next item. Okay, the peripheral nervous system. This is what the peripheral nervous system is. Okay, got it. Okay, next item is the somatic nervous system. And this is telling you what that is. Okay, got it. All right, so you are going to sit and take more time doing this. I'm just going to click through it, okay? All right, now comes some quizzes, all right? So do you know this? Complex of nerve tissue that controls the activities of the body. So see, this is like a flashcard. So imagine like, okay, what's on the other side? What's the answer to this question? If you just are completely clueless, you could say, you know what, I don't know, and it'll take you back to the learning and let you go through that some more. All right. If you think you know it, click know it. All right. And this is, take some concentration here. So the question is off the screen here. So it was like, what was the question again? You can go over here, see the question again. Complex of nerve tissues that controls the activities of the body. Okay. So I'm gonna, just make a random guess here. Okay. So I'm gonna say the central nervous system. Oh, and I got it right. Yay, you get a little pleasant pling there and it turns green. Okay, so you got one right. You move on to the next question. Okay, so, all right, that's what you'll do here, and it'll take you through, I think it said this was 10 items. There will be questions perhaps about 10 of these items. All right, it's showing you your progress, towards these 10 items so far up here. And you proceed that way. Okay, so that's a little bit about the mastery training. It might take you a little, to get familiar with it, and so on. Okay, so spend some time doing that again for the millionth time. Not on Sunday. Don't start this mastery training on Sunday. This should be the first thing you sit down and do. In fact, oddly enough, they're actually recommending that you do this before reading the chapter. Okay, to help prepare you for what you're going to be mastering and learning about in the chapter. Okay, so I suggest following their suggestion and jumping in each week early on and starting the mastery training and busting that out as the week goes on. All right, I'm going to close that, and it takes us back out to the menu of items. Okay, so that was again mastery training. All right, then there's a folder on protecting and supplying the nervous system. That's one of the segments of the textbook, and this is a link that could take you to the textbook to learn, to read specifically that part of the book if you wanted to. And then there's a comprehension check. So then there's some little quiz questions here. So you'll go and read that content and bust out these quiz questions. All right. And to earn your credit on that. Okay, so think of those as little, comprehension quizzes as you go along too. So in conjunction with the mastery training, you're doing, some quiz questions along the way to verify that you got it. All right, now let's flash forward, and maybe now on Sunday, again, whenever you want to do it in the weekend, during the week, you don't have to wait till Sunday to finish these. Okay, feel free to do them early. But by the end of Sunday, you also you have all this completed above, and then do the chapter test, okay? Obviously, it makes most sense to do all that before doing the chapter test, all right? And the chapter test is pretty self-explanatory, and it's going to open up and it's going to give you the test, okay? So you can start the assignment now, and it will go through. This is not a timed thing, so you can take your time on this. And in fact, you're limited to, you can take the assignment you can do it 2 times, all right? And it'll score the better of the 2 times you go through it. Okay, so with all of this exercise done beforehand, there's a good chance that you do it right. You don't need two whacks at it, but you do get 2 whacks at it. Okay? All right, so I'm not going to show you that because that's a test, all right? So I want you to take that as a test. And that'll be your test. Okay? So that's enough to certainly get you started here. And your grades will be, I think, showing up in a pan. Again, I don't have the same screen you do as an instructor, so there ought to be clear links on here somewhere, if not right here, showing you your progress and what how many points you earned. The point values for these things are not all the same. Okay, so the mastery training, I believe those are going to be 30 points. All of those are set up to be working towards 30 points. Chapter tests vary. I think the first chapter test is 30 points, but I think this second one might be 21 points. I think I saw another one popped open to see it was about 20. So I'm just guessing they're like going to be 20 to 30 points for chapter tests. Some of these intermediate comprehension quizzes were, I think, 5-6 points, 5-6 questions probably therefore. Okay, so you have a variety, you have 60 or more points per chapter that you're going to be earning through these various things. Okay, 60 to maybe 100. I think it varies from chapter to chapter. Okay, so that is your quick introduction to MindTap. You can see other views in here. You can see things by a calendar and see when things are due. You can see it as a list, like we were looking at. You can see it as a itemized list showing you every item and the dates that things are due. Okay, I can't remember if you're going to see everything here. I don't know if you see the dates that things become available or not, but you can see the dates that they're due. Okay, so get started on that. Many of you already have, so good work, keep that up. And that is going to be your introduction to getting the book and getting MindTap and what that is and how to get rolling and earning your points. So you have a lot to do these first 2 weeks. I've given you 2 weeks to do the first 2 chapters. After that, we're going to roll along at a very brisk clip of a chapter per week. So you have 2 chapters during the first 2 weeks, and then week 3 you'll be doing chapter 3. Week 4 you'll be doing chapter 4, etc. Okay, so there you go. See you next time.